Hey, this is Chad with Drawn and Cornered. It is September 13th, 2021. As you know, I took most of the weekend off, was not commenting, was not creating videos because I spent September 11th just kind of thinking about September 11th and going through my feelings about that day, the 20 years that followed, the last few months that really sort of struck a nerve, and the things that I wanted to get and missed from those times, and I kept harkening back to September 12th, 2001, and the feeling I had on September 12th of being able to go up to essentially anybody I saw on the street, hug them, and know that we were paired as Americans or as people both dealing with the same level of grief, or that we both had the same ideals and the same goals as Americans to live free and to work as individuals, to prosper and to make our communities better, and all of this. And I think the thing that was most encouraging about that time is I felt like that was a fairly widespread feeling. And though there were tons of calls over the weekend from Joe Biden, GW, Kamala Harris, tons of other politicians and people all over the media for unity, I was struck by the fact that I don't know that we have the possibility of getting back there. I don't know that we will ever be unified again. And the reason is because in order to be unified, you have to be unified for a purpose. You have to be unified under a principle. There has to be some sort of cause that you're unified for. It can't just be unity for unity's sake, because then inevitably will break down at some point whenever there is disagreement or problems or issues that arise that supersede the goal of just broad unity. You have to be unified for a purpose. On September 12th, we were unified against those who would attack us, against those who would do us harm for our ideals. We were unified under the principles of freedom and being able to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness type of things. On a sports team, you're unified against the opposition that you're running into. You want to win, so you unify. It doesn't matter if you like your teammates. It doesn't matter if you even get along with your teammates. You will unify, and you will put away those petty issues so that you can unify to beat your opponent. Today, I don't know that we have any of those umbrellas that we can unify under. The ideals that we used to hold, or seemingly used to hold, seem to have washed away. And when there are calls for unity from somebody like Joe Biden, for instance, somebody that just 3 days prior was telling the unvaccinated or those unwilling to deal with a mask mandate that they were the problem. You're the bad guy because you're unwilling to do this, and we're losing our patience because of it. That's not unity. That's not unity under a common goal. The common goal would be freedom of choice, freedom of self-determination. Those would be unifying principles that we could all find unity under. And then Joe Biden wouldn't be able to make that speech because his principle and those of the unmasked or unvaccinated would align, and they would be unified. When you're screaming unity, but unity only on your terms, then you don't have unity. What you have is a dictatorship. What you have is authoritarianism. And it's seemingly many of these people that are making calls for unity, that's actually what they're looking for. They're not looking for unity under purpose, unity under a cause, or anything along those lines. They're looking for unity under what they demand of unity. And again, that is a restrictive statement. There are things that you cannot be unified with. For instance, we would not be able to find unity of freedom of choice and freedom of movement for women with Al-Qaeda, right? They won't have that same belief as we do. So there are elements that have to occur from both parties in order for unity to be possible. What that used to be was a lot of individualism. What that used to be was a lot of America is a place where you determine how you want to handle the world. You determine how you want to succeed. You determine how much work you want to put in, what type of life you want to have, and everybody else was willing to kind of back off of you and allow you that freedom to do that. That doesn't seem to be the way anymore. It seems more and more that people demand you believe the same thing that they believe. You have to agree with what they do and what they say. Not just that you need to leave them alone, you need to agree with it also. And we see this with the mask mandates. We see this with the vaccine mandates. We see this with trans rights. We see this with the gay bakery. It's no longer that you have to tolerate me or have to at least allow me to do whatever I want. You have to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, I will crush you. I will crush you beneath the boot of government at the point of a gun. You have to do exactly what I tell you to do, or you no longer get to have any of those freedoms, any of those abilities to exist in society, because I will destroy what you are. You saw this from the 1-6 rioters, right? They have a worldview, and you have to be that way, or you are the enemy. You saw this from a bunch of the Black Lives Matter rioters. You have to agree with me, or you are the bad guy. You saw this from Black Lives Matter rioters, or even just protesters standing outside of a diner, demanding that people inside or on the patio stand up and throw up a fist also. You must agree with me. You must do the same things I do, or we will not be unified. That's not an America that existed on 9/12. That's not the way that it was supposed to work. It's not the way it's still supposed to work, but seemingly it is the only way it is working today. And that doesn't work for me. Unfortunately, I don't know how to combat this. You can't find unity with somebody who's unwilling to allow you any sort of freedom of thought, any sort of freedom to disagree, any sort of freedom of individuality. You can't find unity there, because all you are is just a cog in their machine. All you are is just another replaceable part. And it seems like when you can't find unity with somebody, what you need to find is actually the fight. You need to find the differences that you have and what is worth going toe-to-toe for. And I would argue the American ideals, the American principles that we saw on 9/12 are worth fighting for. So that's where it's going to be. And that'll start with the do not comply. That will start with the pushback on the elections. That will start with the pushback against school boards and municipalities and federal governments. It'll start with opposing Joe Biden's vaccine mandate, which is unconstitutional. They'll talk about Ferguson versus Massachusetts, which is a states' rights issue, not a federal rights issue. So they're blown out of the water already. Hopefully that fight will continue. Hopefully there will be enough pushback from enough people to recognize that, hey, this is not the America that I wanted. Taking freedoms away from people, no matter even if it is for safety, which is arguable at best, is not the America that we wanted. We wanted freedom over safety. And the great line about if those who would sacrifice freedom for safety deserve neither is becoming more true every day. Hopefully, we as Americans will realize that. And those of us in our right minds, or thinking the right way, or with the American principles that I think are correct, will unify under those principles, no matter our color, no matter our creed, no matter our sexual orientation. We will recognize those are the issues worth fighting for, and those are the issues worth standing underneath. And I look forward to seeing it. Thank you for watching Drawn and Cornered. I know what this one is a little bit longer, a little bit more drawn out. It was a long weekend, a lot of thinking going on. So we'll be back with more regular news, regular analysis tomorrow. If you have any questions, comments, think I'm wrong, think I'm right, leave a comment down below. If you like this sort of content, subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow.